Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Pardon Our Picks, where perfection is a work in progress. I'm your host, Sam. As always, we have our esteemed co-host, Tarik. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Sam. How about you?
I'm doing okay as well. We, of course, have some of our awesome co-hosts with us. We have Brady. How you doing tonight?
Feeling holly and jolly, Sam.
And Jessica.
Hi, I'm good. Sorry.
Struggle for all of us, but this late in the season, this late in the evening, we keep going. Of course, this is brought to you by Morningwood Crafter, morningwoodcrafter.com, powered by design, crafted by hand, and into deep. Check them out on New Year's Eve at Caddy's starting at 8 p.m. So should be a good show. Speaking of a good show, the NFL coming down to it, 3 weeks left. So many games this week that have playoff implications, some elimination games. And then, of course, there's those who are eliminated already, such as the Detroit Lions getting that win last week.
You know, I think that they could still pull up another victory. I mean, their schedule is not conducive, really. I mean, they play Atlanta in Atlanta. Then they play Seattle, and they play Green Bay. All three teams who, on paper, have better records than them. But I think Detroit is scrappy enough to scrape out a win this week against Atlanta in Atlanta. I mean, they went against Arizona, who everyone thinks is one of, if not the best team in the NFL, and they beat them handily. So easily, I think Detroit could squeak out another win this week.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Who's up?
You.
Chips, go ahead. You were ready. Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. I know that the Cardinals haven't looked like themselves since Murray came back, and they really struggled on offense. They took a few sacks, but Detroit's offense was really, really cohesive, jiving there. St. Brown and Goff had a little thing going on there. I think they looked good, and if they can beat a less than perfect Arizona, then they can definitely beat Atlanta in Atlanta.
So Atlanta has not really looked good all season. They've won a couple surprising games, but they've not looked good at all season. And we've said this so many weeks now, it feels almost redundant. But it's any given Sunday. We need to get I can't remember the actor's name. I had the point and I lost it. Al Pacino. We need Al Pacino back. Say any given Sunday. For any movie buffs out there. I got there in the end.
You did. It's a great movie.
Great movie. He needs to come out and just say it because it's any given Sunday. I mean, that shocked around the league. My phone went off when the game ended. Like, really? That just happened? Detroit beat who? So, yeah. And we'll get to that when we talk about the Ravens here in a couple games. But anyone who says the season's over, like you're going to lose out, you really just don't know that. So, yeah, I think they got a shot.
I too think they've got a pretty good shot. Given the fact that they have a couple of games coming up against opponents that aren't exactly, thrilling in the win column. They do, of course, play Green Bay one more time. I believe they have a pretty good shot. They may win 2 out of 3. They're on kind of a roll, actually. It's funny because they had the number 1 pick all locked up if they'd have lost out, but because they beat Arizona and Jacksonville lost to the Houston Texans, Jacksonville is in line to get the number 1 pick again next year. And of course, this year we all know they picked up a quarterback. But without the cancer that is Urban Meyer, they may actually get some good players. They may actually do something decent next year. But this is all about the Lions, folks. The Lions have a good chance of knocking themselves out of the top 10 in picks next year by getting to 5 wins. It's going to be a very interesting end of the season for them. Now, we've talked about their record. Let's talk about our record. Let's take a look here. What do we got?
Oh, Brady, what happened?
that was a rough week for me. But I figured, I got to give everybody a shot of winning. But King's still on top, baby.
That's okay, because we got plenty of time. Still 3 weeks left to picks, and me and Jessica are not too far off your heels. Of course, Tarik is not too far behind me. We have, of course, Brian and Tom towards the bottom. It's kind of a race to see if we can all stay under 100 losses.
Brian has to have perfect weeks from here on out.
Yes, he would.
Tommy's done.
Tommy's been done 2-3 weeks ago.
He went rogue. Like, let's just be honest. He went rogue the whole season trying to just be Mr. Upset, and it hasn't really worked out for him. But it's okay. That's why we love him.
Yeah.
That's why I love him, because he's my brother. But yeah.
But going from these standings to the playoff standings, let's take a look at the updated playoff picture. We have, of course, Baltimore falling out of the playoff picture altogether, and the Cincinnati Bengals taking over that number one spot for the division. Now, this week they do play each other in what could be determined as the ad hoc AFC North Championship. But given that there's a couple weeks left and the Cleveland Browns aren't out of it yet, Cleveland Browns could come back and steal that one. What do you guys think about that? You guys think the Browns got a chance?
I mean, I think the Browns have a chance, but I think we all stated in our very first video of this year, the Browns are going to Brown. On paper, they have one of my favorite teams in the entire league, but for some reason, they can't put it together. I mean, starting the year, they had Jarvis Landry and OBJ, and we all saw how that turned out. Now he's gone. And on defense, they have Myles Garrett and the other guy, his name is slipping me. Someone help me out.
That's
here.
an unusual name.
Someone help me out here. Who's their other edge rusher there? Used to number one pick by Houston a while ago.
Oh, Jadeveon Clowney.
Jadeveon Clowney, thank you. On paper, they should be racking up the sacks. Now, Garrett is having a fantastic year, but Jadeveon Clowney not really having a great year. So I don't think the Browns are out of it yet, but Brown's going to Brown.
That's true. It's true. And given the fact that they almost won last week against the Vegas Raiders, down 2 quarterbacks and half their team. Their defense is what kept them in. I think they still got a pretty good chance. I think they got a decent chance of making the playoffs, maybe not winning the division.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like Myles Garrett and Clowney are really entertaining to watch, and I think they're the only thing that's keeping Cleveland from looking like a giant dumpster fire. But as soon as that offense takes the field, it's just a mess. Like they're not doing anything with the people that they do have. And Baker Mayfield hasn't looked worse, I don't think.
No, I wouldn't put this on Baker Mayfield. I hear people on sports radio try to blame him because the quarterback takes all the fall and all the flack for everything. But he hasn't played any worse with what he's been given. He's still producing, he's still getting results. So I think Cleveland probably just doesn't know. They don't know what to do. They haven't been a team really in contention in years. So maybe it's just a experience thing that they don't have the personnel to really know what to do to win. They're like, oh, we got a good result. What do we do now? So.
All right, let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture. Currently, the Washington football team just outside after being the number 7 seed, and the Arizona Cardinals dropping like a rock after 2 straight losses. It hasn't looked good for them. Guys, are the Rams set to take the division?
I don't know what the Rams' schedule looks like other than this upcoming week, but I don't think that they're set to take the division. The Rams, I do think will make it into the playoffs because they're getting hot at the right time, but that division is way too competitive for them to be able to take it at this point.
Brady.
I think they are. given how Arizona has looked the last 2 weeks and the fact that they're going to be missing DeAndre Hopkins at least until the NFC Championship, if they make it that far, and how their passing game looked last week against the Lions defense, I can't see how they're going to be able to produce to a level to not keep pace with the Rams. And I think the Rams are going to overtake them this week.
All right, I'm just checking real quick, see what's going on. So they got the Vikings. I think they can win that.
Then they have the Ravens the week after that.
Ravens, that could be here or there.
Yeah.
And then the 49ers, I think they can beat them. So what's Arizona's schedule? Let's see. I'm being very professional here.
As we are.
Arizona plays the Cowboys in week 17.
So we got the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks.
Yep.
So their hardest game there, I think, is going to be the Cowboys. The Colts, it all depends on, again, who shows up, because Colts play 3/4 of a game and then stop. So it's possible. I mean, I think a lot of factors got to roll into this to see. I mean, we're at that point where there's 7 things that got to happen for whoever to win out. And so many of these divisions are so close. I mean, it's anybody's guess. There's no clear winners here. There's no like, oh, one game and you're good. Like, no, you have to like win out almost to win so many of these divisions.
The Arizona Cardinals kind of remind me of an Arizona Cardinals team about a decade ago. Had Kurt Warner on it, and they'd won their first 13 games that year and then lost 3 at the end of the season. It wasn't because they were a bad team; it was just because they figured they had everything in hand, and they didn't focus. Now that team did make it to the Super Bowl and lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, unfortunately for everybody. But I think that the Arizona Cardinals do win 2 out of the next 3, and I believe that the Rams may also win 2 out of the next 3, which will keep Arizona just in for that division title. And I think it's going to be a really exciting couple weeks. All right. Speaking of exciting, let's get to our games of the week. We're going to start with Brady. Brady, what is your game of the week?
Well, speaking of those Arizona Cardinals, my game of the week is the Indianapolis Colts going into Arizona against the Cardinals. And this game stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I personally didn't think Indianapolis had a shot last week against the Patriots. And I didn't think the Lions had a shot going against Arizona last week.
No one did. No one did.
I mean, if you say you did, you're a liar.
I mean,
you'd fight me in the comments.
You were hoping that they would win. So,
well, we all thought, who doesn't love an underdog story? I mean, everybody loves Rocky, but no one thought Rocky was from Detroit. So this game just stood out to me for multiple reasons. 1, because the Cardinals are missing Hopkins. 2, because Jonathan Taylor is my offensive player of the year currently, just because when he gets 20 plus touches a game, the Colts are unstoppable, because the guy is able to take what you think is a 2-yard run and turn it into a 60-yard run, as we saw last week. To try and keep this short and sweet, I think the Colts are coming away with this one because Jonathan Taylor is going to run over that Arizona defense, and I don't think the Arizona offense is going to be able to click without DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, who, what,
where, when, why?
Just as distracted, so I was going to take the.
Go for it.
All right. So I agree with everything Brady said, and I know that's shocking because disagreeing with Brady is fun. But
I agree.
Colts have finally showed up. They're finally doing something. They finally got an answer. They have the best running back they've had since Edgerrin James. Surprisingly, the quarterback whose name escapes me at the moment, it's just that kind of night. No one can remember names tonight.
Carson Wentz.
Yes, there you go. But he's doing better than we all thought he was going to do. So I think they got a shot. I got the Colts winning this one. I think it's going to be close because I believe Arizona is going to try and scramble to get a win after 2 straight losses. But it all depends on what team they're becoming here at the end, and this is when it matters. So, but yeah, I'm going with the Colts. Jess?
Am I on mute? No.
Nope.
Yes.
So yeah, since Kyler Murray's been back, they haven't really looked great. Obviously their last couple of games they lost, including some pretty major upsets. Their defense has looked pretty horrendous. They have allowed 30 points or so in the last few weeks per game. I think it was last two, and I do think that they're going to struggle to contain Jonathan Taylor. They allow the third fewest rushing touchdowns, and they have to contend with Darius Leonard. So I still think it's going to be a really close game. And I think that they're going to come out firing on all cylinders this week to try and look like the team that they looked like prior to this little hiccup in their road. I think that this is one of the games that they win, actually. I think the Indianapolis Colts look great, and it's nothing to them, but I think it comes down to they both really want this win. They both really need this win, but they're going to have more to prove.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest here. I'm glad that somebody picked Arizona because I was a little worried if everybody would have picked the Colts that they would have lost because I picked the Colts. Quite frankly, I think that running game has been on fire. Carson Wentz has been doing a really good job, although he, with Michael Pittman going out last week because of the fist fight he got in, he kind of precluded them from actually throwing the ball any more than they did. Arizona, however, they're gonna make it a game. They're gonna make this a much better game than last week. They had too many mistakes, and I think that's what cost them. I believe that after this week, they'll probably go on a nice 2-game win streak. But this week, Saturday Night Football, Christmas Day, they're going to give a gift to the Indianapolis Colts.
Love it.
All right, let's move on to the next game. We have Tarik. I believe your game is next. What's your game of the week?
My game is the San Francisco 49ers and the Titans. So I think this is an interesting matchup. We got two teams. They're vying for it, as Sam pointed out. They're chomping at the bit. They're trying their potential to win the divisions here. They're trying. There's not much else to say on that. I don't know all the personnel that everybody else seems to know, so I'll skip that. But I'm giving it to Tennessee. Home field advantage on this, and San Francisco's been looking a little iffy. So I'm giving it to the Titans. Yes.
So with I think Julio Jones is coming back and AJ Brown is coming back, and I think this is the first time that they're both on the field together in quite a while. But two of the offensive linemen are out, and Ryan Tannehill already struggles as far as getting the ball out, not being forced into fumbles. So that is going to be. That's what we're talking about, right? Yes. Okay. So that is going to be an issue for them. And San Francisco has been on fire. Deebo Samuel, we talk about him a little bit every week, and he's, incredible. We don't mention like Ayuk. He was a pretty big disappointment fantasy-wise for quite a while, but he's finally starting to show some progress there. Wilson will also take the ball for a little bit. Jimmy G's got Kittle. I mean, they're all really firing on all cylinders. I think Tannehill's biggest issue is going to be keeping the turnovers under control, and I don't think that's going to go in his favor. I'm taking the 49ers for the win here by 7.
Ayuk sounds like Goofy laugh, by the way.
Ayuk. So I am going to agree with drumroll Jess. San Francisco's defense has been one of the top defenses since week 10 in points allowed, in turnovers forced, in sacks accumulated, I guess would be the word. Their defense is really playing well, and they've gone up against some pretty on paper great teams. And as we've talked about the Titans in the past, they struggled to beat the bad teams, which they did last week against the Steelers, even though the Steelers record doesn't indicate that they're a bad team. But the Titans normally play well against good teams, aka the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers going to be out with a couple players this week. Elijah Mitchell, one of their top running backs, is going to be out this week. But I still think San Francisco's defense is going to key in on a turnover-prone Tennessee team who is now leading the league in game or snaps missed by injured players. So I think San Francisco takes this by 7 as well.
This is going to be a very interesting game. San Francisco, yes, and the win column has been pretty hot, but you got to look at the margin of victory, along with, of course, the quality of the victories. Let's take a look back. I mean, they beat the Falcons last week, 31-13, but they won in overtime to the Bengals, which is a quality win. They lost to the Seahawks a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I'll get there eventually. 4 weeks ago.
18 weeks ago in the preseason.
Beating the Vikings, the Jaguars. The only impressive win I see in there is the Bengals in overtime, and the Bengals should not have been in that game. And then, of course, the Rams 7 weeks ago. Quite frankly, I think that they're more a paper tiger than anything else. The Titans, however, they don't have that run game anymore. They don't have that threat. Tannehill's having to win these games sometimes with his arm, and we all know Tannehill is not great at that. Even with these two receivers in, I think he still struggles with that. And as much as I thought that when Derrick Henry went down that he would step up, he really hasn't. But given that this is a very interesting game, and I went back and forth on it many times, I have Tennessee winning, but I'm not all that confident about that.
Yeah, I'm not either, but
but they have to play a great game to win this game. San Francisco was going to make them earn this victory. All right, let's move on to the last game of the week. We have Jessica. What is your game of the week?
My game of the week is the Los Angeles Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. So obviously last week the Rams played Seattle, which isn't difficult for them to look good, but lately the Rams are looking great. Stafford's looking great. They're starting to mix in more running game. They've got Henderson and Michelle. And their defense is stepping up again, which for a little bit they were kind of stagnant. Minnesota has a mediocre defense when it comes to the run game. So I think with their multiple weapons, they're going to get more than their average rushing yards this time. I think Minnesota lets up 90 or so average rushing yards per game at this point. And with the Rams, I think they're set to exceed that by far. With that being said, I do think that Justin Jefferson is going to have a good game because they're going to have to utilize him as much as possible. And that he's going to be the deep threat there. But I am taking the Rams with Cooper Kupp, setting no records this week, like he did last week. Sorry, my light over here is blinking.
Your house is haunted.
Or is just bad wiring. Yeah, the LA defense is stepping up. I think that they're gonna really contain whatever weapons on the Minnesota that they have, and it's gonna be LA Rams.
We do apologize to any of the viewers who are epileptics. Jessica is going to put you into a seizure.
Can you guys see it? Or it stopped now, but
Yes,
we could see it.
We can see it.
I don't see anything. What?
So
we don't do disclaimers here, Sam.
Yeah, you watch at your own risk. So I think this game is going to be a lot closer than some people are saying. If Adam Thielen can come back for the Vikings, if Dalvin Cook can play for the Vikings, and who covers who for the Rams. I mean, they have one of the top corners in Jalen Ramsey. So is he going to stick to one receiver? Is he going to choose a side of the field? How are they going to play? But as Jessica alluded to, with Cooper Kupp setting the single season reception record for the Rams last week, I think Cooper Kupp's going to have a huge game. Single season, did I say single game? Single season record. I think they're still going to stick with Cooper Kupp, and what's been working with them is that nice mixed balanced attack, keeping Stafford upright against a pass rush that is basically non-existent from the Vikings. And I think the Rams are going to take this by 4.
All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna start off saying I'm picking the Rams. I think they have a really good shot. Going back to a previous segment here, I think they got a really good shot of taking the division. I can't really argue anything that's been said with personnel wise and such. The Rams have been looking really good. Vikings have been trying, but they're not really there yet. It depends. I mean, just like with a lot of other teams, this point with COVID protocols and everything else, it all depends on who shows up and where and why and how, and maybe even what and who. So get all the W questions in there. But I think the Rams are going to do it. Luckily for us, Brady is not scored on how close the game is, just on who wins. So I got the Rams winning.
I got to try this person a little bit.
All right. So Vikings generally keep things close. The Rams their defense hasn't been great recently, even with the acquisition of Von Miller, who I think was inserted in the lineup last week. I think he was injured before that. However, they surprisingly have struggled a little bit against the run, and Dalvin Cook with the Vikings is hard to stop. I don't know that the Rams defense can keep them in this game, so they're going to have to rely mainly on their record-setting wide receivers and offense to get them through this game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. The Vikings are going to have to keep up, and I don't think they're going to be able to. I think the Rams win in we'll say the game's going to be in the high 30s for each team, and it's going to come down to a field goal. All right, let's move on to the next game. We have the Baltimore Ravens playing the Bengals in what has amounted to an AFC North almost division title at this point. Let's start with you, Jessica. Who do you think?
Oh, I have so many feelings right now.
It's not a hippie show, Jess. We're not.
Let them out, Jess.
Supposed to be able to talk about our feelings now, okay? So Jackson still isn't practicing, which doesn't really concern me that much. Last week I said something similar right before the game, that it's not Huntley is he's a good backup. He really is, especially in the last couple of games. He's gotten like 215 plus yards in each of these games, and he didn't even start one of them. But it's really the cohesiveness of the rest of the team coming together, like drop passes, blown coverage, things like that, bad tackles.
2-point conversions.
Huh?
2-point conversions.
That has cost us the last 3 or 4 games. And every single time before the call was made, I was like, no, they're not going to do that. There's no way. Oh my God, they're doing that. That's a terrible call. And everybody always says, yeah, but if he gets it, he's a genius. And I said, no, it's still a bad call.
I can attest she did do that.
You were there. I'm so tired of this. If he doesn't stop doing that, we would have won at least 3 of these games had we gotten the field goal or the extra point. And
so I will say, the one thing I would say about last week's game, if they had gone for the field goal instead of the touchdown, they would have won that. Don't tell me no. Don't tell me
I will
no.
tell you no when it's my turn.
Come on, Brady. We would have won that game. Anyway, and our defense was showing up. So after seeing how well our defense played last week and knowing that the Bengals are a little shaky, they're up and down, they're not very consistent, I think the Ravens have a good chance. This is our only chance, really. We have to win out. At this point, I think even if Tyler Huntley plays, we have a good shot. And the Ravens are going to win this one. But I am not super confident in that. And it really comes down to a few things, including play calling, that needs to stop being so ridiculous.
That's going to land the heat down on Harbaugh right there.
I'm coming to defense. I'm coming to defense of my boy John, and I'll tell you exactly why. Our defense stepped up on one drive last week. And that was the drive where we went for the touchdown instead of the field goal and kept them to a short field where their backs were up against the end zone. Every other drive, Rodgers, with referee interference, because I think everyone on this panel would agree that roughing the passer call and the pass interference call were absolute garbage. But our defense couldn't stop a wet paper towel after that first drive. So
Not true.
go back and watch the game. But
Aaron Rodgers was getting sacked.
yeah, he got sacked twice, but then he got up and would throw a 30-yard bomb. But I digress. Try and make this quick. You go for the extra point there. You make it a 31-31 game, and then you leave it up to a 50-50 shot, which is exactly what the going for the 2-point conversion is a 50-50 shot. If Tyler Huntley doesn't key in on Mark Andrews as soon as the ball is hiked and sees Hollywood Brown open in the back of the end zone, we're talking a different story here.
Right. If a backup quarterback makes an experienced quarterback decision in that scenario.
He looked like an experienced quarterback all game.
Potentially.
And Harbaugh asked the team what they wanted to do. He went to them on the sidelines and asked, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to go for 2? And they're like, yeah, let's win this expletive. And he's like, all right, we're going for it during the timeout. And it didn't work out. And you know what? That's okay, because we had North County High School's chess team playing defense against one of the greatest quarterbacks in the last 20 years.
Let's go Knights. Let's go Knights.
Essentially. Here's my pick.
Wrong.
Ravens, because they have to win.
Say Brady's
Hey,
wrong.
Mr. Emmett. Named, of course, after Jessica's favorite player, Emmett Smith.
Tarik, who's your pick?
Sorry, distracted by the baby.
Don't leave us with the babies.
It's like that commercial where they do the trick play with the baby.
Yes.
Okay, let me gather my thoughts.
Emotions.
Focus. Serenity now. Serenity now. I don't really have calm emotions, Sam. I don't know if you met me before. So I support. So I'm going to start this off by saying I have the Ravens winning. I think it comes down to a couple things. I support the decisions to go for 2 points, just like I support the going forward on 4th and short. I've said for years, teams need to do that more. It makes no sense if you're in enemy territory and you're 4th and 1. Why the hell would you punt? So I support that. I support going for 2. It changes up the game. It adds another dimension instead of just these gimme points, even though some kickers have been missing extra points, regardless of that. But the only thing that really bugged me with Sunday's game was that first scoring drive that they didn't score. And they, instead of going for it's 4th down, you have it, get the points. Get points on the board. When the defense, I agree with you, Brady, defense has not been where it's supposed to be. And so if you can't fully trust your defense, why wouldn't you just put points on the board? So some of the calls I agree with, some of the calls I don't. I'm glad they're going for things, and it's making an interesting game. I will say, regardless of the record, the Ravens games have been the most interesting every single week because they've all been like, do it, yes, like. And what's funny is my in-laws came in October, and my mother-in-law said to my stepfather-in-law, "Oh, don't scream at football. Like Tarik's not gonna like that." I'm like, ha, ha, ha. Yes, I am. And I screamed at the entire game. She's like, and like walked out of the room. So
I'm just gonna piggyback on your point. And when you have a team that is as many key injuries in key positions as the Ravens do, you have to gamble at some points. And I think them trying to put up 7 before Aaron Rodgers even got on the field, knowing that they were going to get the ball in the second half, that's why he had to do that.
Yeah.
But Sam, what do you think?
If they weren't as banged up as they are,
You kicked
I
the
think
3,
I'd be a little more comfortable. And in the first quarter, if there's a time to do it, it's then. You got the rest of the game to fix it.
Agreed.
But they just
So you're saying
they're missing pro people.
if they were less banged up and more able to score, they should take the guaranteed points
on defense. If we had Marlon Humphrey or Marcus Peters or even Tavon Young to cover Devontae Adams, yes, I agree. You kick the field goal there. But over the course of that game, we did not have all 3 of those experienced cornerbacks, and we had guys who were, like, as I alluded to, playing chess 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
But in the last 4 weeks, I mean, we notoriously go for that 2-point conversion a lot. How many times are we going to go for it and it not work before we say maybe this team has a hard time doing that right now? We need to get points forward against a strong offense.
I agree with you that going for it as much as we have is a bad idea, like against the Steelers, because they are a bad team. But against Aaron Rodgers, who just put up 31 points, basically on consecutive drives, every time they touch the ball, they got points. You have to try and keep him off the field, and the best way to keep him off the field is trying to end the game.
So the other point I will make in Huntley's favor is Huntley throws it to more people than Jackson does.
Agreed.
Jackson needs to get some confidence and throw to somebody else because they're double and triple teaming Andrews, and they're just on him.
Oh, he's
all
all
about building rapport.
as Jackson.
What, Sam?
I was just saying it's all about building a rapport.
Oh, I know,
don't
but he's
think
been
he
on
does that rapport yet.
The rapport should be built. The rapport should be built by now. It's been years. Go in the offseason, play pickup football in the backyard, throw to your receiver. When Manning went to Denver, what did he do? He grabbed the 3-4 main receivers, took them to his private sports club, and they just threw passes to each other all summer long. So practice with somebody other than Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is great. I love him. He's great tight end. He's a great receiver, but it can't be your only, because then they know who you're going to throw to.
Yeah, it's true. By the way, Tarik, who is your pick?
I said at the beginning, Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay,
I did say that at the beginning. Rewind the tape.
Well, all that being said, I have the Bengals in this one. Moving on. Let's see who we got next. We have the other ad hoc division championship, the Buffalo Bills, going into New England this time to take on the Patriots. Now, given the fact that the Patriots did beat Buffalo in horrible, horrible weather last time, and it wasn't by much.
I was about to say, what was the score? Well, I didn't think it was by much.
No, it wasn't by much. It was less than a possession. It was a one-score game. And going into New England, the weather's going to be better, meaning Josh Allen's going to be able to throw the ball a little bit more. And that defense, as good as it is for New England, I think is going to have a much harder time with a team that really, really wants this game. They want to go into New England. They want to beat this team. They want to take back the division that they think is theirs. And I think this is the week they do it. Buffalo, on all three phases of the game, get it done. I think it might almost be a shutout this week by Buffalo against New England.
Whoa. Calm down. We're not talking about the Jets here. This is the New England Patriots, who up until last week, their defense has been stout and stopping everyone. And this is a divisional game, which Bill Belichick is more than game for every time they play. Every time the Patriots play a divisional team, they are stout.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not a bold prediction. It's absolutely a bold prediction.
It is bold italics and underlined at this point, Sam. Saying that the Patriots are going to get shut out at home.
I said
I would love to know.
I think that we kept to under 10 points.
I would love to know the last time that Patriots got shut out at home. I digress. Making this quick. Patriots defense has a bounce back game after last week. Patriots by 4.
I am going to go ahead, and this one's tough for me. I'm not super confident in my answer, but I am going to go with Buffalo here. I think that they are starting to get a little bit going on the run game, finally. Otherwise, the only rushing yards they ever seemed to have was Josh Allen. They're going to need to do better, and their defense is going to need to step up from their last matchup because Buffalo has a really hard time against the run. And I know that that's what Bill Belichick's plan is going to be. He's probably going to sprinkle some other fun stuff in there. It's going to be a tough game, and Buffalo's offense is really going to have to be on their top game. But I am going to go Buffalo by 3.
All right, so we have good arguments on both sides. So we got Sam super confident in the other way, Jess not confident at all. which way do we go? I'm going with Buffalo. Fueled partly by my hatred for the Patriots, and I believe a loss from the Colts. They're rivals from when they were in the same division, and had two very different quarterbacks. So I think this is going to lean in Buffalo's favor. I don't think it's going to be by much. I don't think it's going to be quite as a blowout as Sam, but I think they're going to get ahead and stay ahead for most of the game.
2006 was the
New England.
last time the Patriots were shut out. At home.
Not shut out, but under 10 points.
I still don't even see that happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Maybe
All right, I'll
field
bet you a
goals.
beer.
We're going to get a text from Brady. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, crap.
See them being under 10.
Oh, let's see it happen. All right, let's move on to our quick hitters, and we're going to start with the Browns going to Green Bay. Both teams really close games last week. Who you got, Jess?
Yeah, the Browns were close against Las Vegas. I'm definitely going Green Bay.
Green Bay by 10.
Green Bay.
They were close with a third-string quarterback. I have the Browns. In an upset.
Oh my
You're just
God.
trying to make up points so you can try to catch Brady.
No,
Yeah.
this has nothing to do with that. I actually think the Browns are going to win this, considering Green Bay barely won against the backup quarterback last week, and the Browns almost won with a third-string quarterback and half their team gone. I think the Browns need this victory more than Green Bay.
The Ravens did look pretty good. So
They did against a Green Bay defense that isn't very good.
They were top 10.
but the Browns.
Still, okay. Well, still got the Browns, so they can change my pick.
Hey, it's fine. Let him get a game further behind us.
All right, let's move on. The 2-11-1 Lions going into Atlanta, who pretty much is eliminated at this point. Who we got?
I'm going with Detroit with another win.
I want to pick Detroit, but I'm not going to because I want to try and keep my lead. Atlanta.
Do it. Do it.
Atlanta. Matty Ice, baby.
Good. Give me an upset. Let me catch up.
I'm not. This one definitely might flop on me. I think I'm gonna go Detroit right now. But there's not a lot of confidence that that's gonna stay like that.
Last time Brady said, I really want to pick Detroit. They beat Arizona, and I'm still going with Atlanta. All right, let's go on. We have the 2-12 Jacksonville Jaguars going against the New York Jets. Who you got there, Tarik and Cannon? Nope. The Cannon? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Cannon. All right, hold on. Pull it up. I gotta pull it up. Okay.
Jaguars.
Yeah, Jaguars.
Jaguars. I
Only
like
the
it.
Jags.
I've got the Jets in another game that could have been my game of the week, like last week's Houston-Jacksonville game, because we're being forced to watch the slop of the league 2 weeks in a row.
Mr. Sam's sister, Jessica.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Jets this week. Shockingly.
And who's that?
I don't know who that is.
Well, the Jets, of course, have their starting quarterback back. He was back last week. They didn't look too terrible for a little while. I have the Jets winning this one. Let's move on. The New York Giants going into Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Brady, who do you have?
I've got the Eagles stringing together a couple of wins against divisional opponents here. And with no Daniel Jones, I don't think the Giants are going to win another game this year.
Yeah, the Giants don't look very good. Quarterbacks stand on the sidelines, not usually a good look. Eagles, on the other hand, their quarterbacks, doing pretty well. I'm definitely going with the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Eagles. I don't think Giants have a prayer.
Eagles are one of those teams that's up and down a lot, and the Giants are just always down. So I have the Eagles because even if they're down, I still think they win. Let's move on. The 10-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the newly, not officially, but newly eliminated Carolina Panthers.
Definitely going to go with the Bucs here. Tom Brady was heated. That's he's going to redeem himself a little bit.
That poor Surface.
Microsoft Surface.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, Microsoft. No, I agree with Jess. I don't think Tom Brady is going to have as bad a performance as he did last week, 2 weeks in a row. And Carolina hasn't really shown much since Cam Newton showed up. So Tampa Bay and the Tampa Bay Tom Brady's.
Good. I'm glad you said the full name, Brady. Just need to change your name to Tom. Brady.
No, never.
So yeah, I think Tom Brady's all the way. You having fun?
Take 2 away, give 1 back to Tom Brady, and I think he's still going to win this one, hands down. They're down 2 receivers. They're up 1. If anybody questioned it,
Tom Brady will turn a janitor into a number 1 wide receiver. Let's be honest.
he has in the past. All right, let's see the 8-6 Chargers going to the Houston Texans. Jessica,
I'm gonna go with the Justin Herbert team there with
No.
Chargers. It's gonna be an interesting game to watch.
I agree with Jess. The only thing I think is going to be interesting about this is if Houston can put up points in the double digits.
Yeah,
Chargers.
Chargers all the way on this. There's not even a chance.
I got the Chargers, but I absolutely think Houston's going to put up 17 points. Let's move on. We have the 4-10 Chicago Bears, who are officially eliminated, going against the Seahawks, who are about to be eliminated. Who you guys got?
Seattle in the game that's going to cost Matt Nagy his job.
Finally. Yeah, I'm gonna go Seattle also. There are some weeks where Chicago looks really good. The play calling's always still questionable, but Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going with Seattle on this one. I mean, Bears are just not even going to care. They're just going to play for fun and pride at this point. Seattle, I don't think there's a way they can make the playoffs. There is it like one of those 7 complicated moves to get there. So
They would have to win out and have the teams at the end of the wild card lose out.
Yeah, so which I don't think is going to happen. So, but they're going to win to try. They got some. They're the only ones that got something to play for. So Seattle.
I actually flipped on this one a little bit. I thought Chicago was going to win, but I'm picking Seattle. It's just it's hard to pick Chicago with that dumpster fire they got over there. Let's move on. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers going against the number 1 seed in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hate to say it, but I was wrong about the Chiefs. They have turned it around in the last couple of weeks. Their defense has looked better. It didn't look great last week against Justin Herbert, but they kind of, bailed themselves out. And really, the Steelers are a dumpster fire. Jess, you are correct. Jess is all-knowing. Jess is wonderful. All hail Jessica. But I do think that Kansas City is going to struggle to run the ball this week if TJ Watt can go, because he is going to be in Patrick Mahomes' face. But Pittsburgh's secondary is terrible. Kansas City by 17.
Yeah, 17. Yeah, that's not a bad guess. I don't think. I would say, yeah, TJ Watt is like the destroyer of all quarterbacks right now. Otherwise, they don't really have much to brag about, and I'm definitely going Kansas City by at least 10. And yes, their defense did step up.
Yeah, for all the reasons listed above, Kansas City.
Yeah, their defense has been surprisingly good, and Steelers are still a pretty bad team. Whether they've got 7 wins and are above 500 or not, I think they go back to 500 this week. Kansas City for the victory. All right, we have the Broncos going into Las Vegas. Both these teams at 7-7 and just clinging to playoff hopes. Whose hopes get dashed this week, Brady?
The Raiders' hopes get dashed this week. I have the Broncos winning this game with or without Teddy Bridgewater. I think if he's not in, it's honestly might be better for the team because they may lean on that run game just a little bit more. And as you have stated multiple times in this video, Sam, Las Vegas barely won against a third-string team in Cleveland last week. So going up against a first-string team in Denver, playing Denver, not in Denver, I think Denver's going to win this game.
I think this one's going to be a little bit of a shock, maybe. I'm going to go with the Raiders here. I think that they played well against Nick Chubb, who they seemed to rely on last week. They knew how to stop the run game, and I feel like the Broncos are going to try to rely on the run game and not be as successful as they hope. So I'm going to go with the Raiders, but I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, unfortunately, like as you said, Brady, Teddy Bridgewater's out. Pretty sure he's out with concussion protocol. He was hospitalized for a day or two beginning of the week after the game. So Drew Lock's up. Drew Lock is someone I want to have faith in. I want to. He never seems to be able to crest that block that he's got to be better. They should lean on the run game, but they don't have a great running back. They let their best running back that I thought they had, they let go, is now playing for Jacksonville. Philip Lindsay. I don't know where he was in Florida now. He was with Houston, and then he went.
Yeah, he's Miami.
Miami. That's it. I knew it was a Florida team. So they don't have their O-line isn't meant for running backs, and the best running back they let go. So I'm going with Denver only because the Raiders suck. So, yeah. Sam, go ahead.
I got a bit of a surprise here too. I have the Raiders in this one, and I think it's because the Raiders did have Chubb to deal with last week, and he's hard to deal with no matter who's throwing the ball. Denver doesn't have that back that scares you, and their backup quarterback isn't great. So I got Vegas in another low-scoring, weird game. All right, let's move on. We have the Sunday night game. Washington going into Dallas. Dallas, if they win the division, will they get it done this week, Tarik?
Yes, I think they will. I think they will 100%. I think Dallas is going to come in here, kick butt, take names, start it off, finish it off, beat it off. Dallas.
There's children here, Tarik.
He doesn't know what I'm saying.
Jess with a little surprise face.
Surprise football helmet.
Yes, football helmets.
I agree with Tarik. I think Dallas takes the division this week. They gain the lead early and they don't let it go.
I'm going to go with Dallas, but I don't think it's going to be as easy on them as I don't know, it should be, I think, at this point, especially with the records indicating, but I am going Dallas by at least 7.
Division games for Dallas have always been really close. However, Dallas can taste that number 1 seed. Green Bay is only 1 game ahead of them. I got Dallas, and I got them winning big this week. Let's move on to the last game of the week, the Monday night game. The Dolphins and the Saints both trying to stay in playoff contention, both right in the mix. Who gets eliminated this week?
I'm going to go with Miami's getting eliminated this week. New Orleans.
Just let it go, Jess. Let it ride.
This is just a kid night. Mine won't go to sleep, and yours is right there.
New Orleans, I think, is a better overall team, more consistent. Miami does look pretty good in the last couple weeks, but yeah, New Orleans. Sorry.
It's okay. Brady.
I agree with Jess. I think Tua really struggled coming off that bye week against the Jets, and they nearly lost last week. They were able to squeak out a win at the end, but I think the more surprising thing was that Saints defense being able to shut out Tom Brady. And I think the Saints may pitch another shutout this week. So, Saints.
I think the Saints down there in New Orleans had that voodoo magic against Tom Brady because he can't seem to beat him in the regular season. That being said, though,
the water boy,
the Dolphins, they did get a close win last week, and I think sometimes those good teams do get surprised when they may be looking ahead. I have the Dolphins winning this week. Simply because I think that they are the better team. They have the better quarterback, not by much. And I think that the Saints slip up this week against them. So, all right, folks, that is it for us. Tarik, take it away.
All right. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please hit that like button. Let us know you watched it. Leave a comment in the comments because that's how things work. Let us know who you picked, what you think we're right or wrong. Give us predictions for who you think's going into the playoffs in the Super Bowl.
Tell everybody you love my hair.
Yeah.
Tell us how we're wrong about the Ravens situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it only got a little heated and emotional.
Just a little bit, but we're all friends here. We're
Yeah.
going to fight about it for 20 minutes once the recording stops.
Exactly.
Jessica's going to chase down John Harbaugh if he doesn't get for 2 again.
Always been a fan, but he's really working my
Take us
nerves.
home.
So, all that stuff. Subscribe. Let us know when we post new videos. And thanks again, everybody. All right. I'm Tarik.
I'm Jess.
I'm Brady.
I'm Sam, and you have a great football week and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas,
guys.
y'all.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy
to everybody who
Hanukkah.
says-
Happy
I'm
Kwanzaa.
canon.
Yes, you're canon. Yeah.
You are canon.
Good job. All right. Bye, guys.